So, we welcome back to the Randomiser, Fireball XL5. I'm not entirely sure when we were last here. Checking my notes, it looks like that might have been Pod 219 with drama at Space City.
Lieutenant 90, send out a general alert. This is an emergency.
And we open with another drama, but this is the very first episode of Fireball XL5 Planet 46. And I believe, in fact, I was just sitting here thinking about it, I think this is the first time we've had the pilot episode of a Supermarionation show come up on the Randomiser.
A rocket range standing by.
We haven't had How It Began, we haven't had Rescue, haven't had the first episode of Stingray, haven't had the first episode of Thunderbirds.
According to the computer, it's carrying a planetomic...
No, unless I've forgotten one of them.
Full enough to destroy...
This is the first time a Supermarionation first episode has landed on the Randomiser. So, congrats to Fireball XL5 for earning that honour. And a slightly unfortunate shot there of the Earth looking very blurry as the planetomic missile approaches.
Sector 25. That's Fireball XL5, Steve Zodiac.
I instantly love how large this organisation feels. We have a map on the wall of space divided up into sectors, and of course we have to think about which of our ships is out there, even though the map is only divided into 3 sectors, so it kind of gives the impression that there are only 3 sectors, which must mean there are only 3 ships. But as we know from later episodes, there's a lot more going on.
Forgetting you're only a robot. Say, Venus, how's our beautiful doctor of space medicine?
I gather by the compliment, Steve, you want something to eat.
You would never pay me a compliment unless you wanted something.
Cooking. What's on the menu today? Blue pills, pink pills, or those delicious capsules that you make up?
One thing that I love about this first episode of XL5, and it's there in quite a lot of the Supermarionation pilots, but this one in particular, just how confident they are in setting off on this show, and how well everything falls into place right from the very beginning.
From the moon.
With the possible exception of the Secret Service, where, you know, what is going on in the Secret Service generally.
What's that, Professor?
But that the establishing
Time to eat.
episode sets up all these concepts and characters just perfectly.
Something important.
There isn't that sort of rocky period that you get in, say, the live action shows where, for instance, with UFO or Space Precinct, even Terrorhawks and New Captain Scarlet, there was this sort of period of adjustment, figuring out what the show can be.
XL5.
But this, straight away, is just XL5. Everything that the show would be is right here.
Abandon routine procedure.
The characters arrive perfectly formed.
Arming all warheads.
We instantly know what this ship is all about, and she's a gorgeous design straight off the bat.
Steve, where's the missile heading?
According to space,
Even if the science is a bit simplistic.
we've got to stop it, Venus. It's carrying a planetomic warhead.
A planetomic warhead? Why, Steve, that's a million times more powerful than a hydrogen bomb.
Oh, is it? Well, thank you for telling me. I had no idea. Of course I knew. Go back to making me some steak, woman.
The professor tracking the missile?
Oh dear, poor Venus. Yes, as I said, the characters are just fully formed, for better or worse, right from the beginning. But this is also a very sort of, not tense, but the drama of this opening sequence of this missile attack on Earth is
Roger. All warheads.
very well done, I think. And what's great is it just throws you straight into the action. There isn't that moment you get to maybe learn who these characters are. That'll come.
Professor, we're on course.
But we'll learn who these characters are by seeing them in action, which I think is a great way to do it. And that's how a lot of the Anderson shows, the Supermarionation shows, worked.
I got it. Range.
Oh, there it is.
25. Steve, we will have to fire the interceptors at maximum range. That way we'll be clear of the radiation when it explodes.
And you also have to remember, looking at this, that it wouldn't have been
Interceptors.
that long ago that they were, doing Supercar, which even the later episodes compared to this look not primitive, because Supercar is a huge technical achievement, as is Four Feather Falls and even Torchy.
All XL5.
But you see that level of evolution from series to series, and it's perhaps nowhere better evidence than the end of one series and the beginning of the next.
In range.
Also, this would be, with the exception of The Day That Time Stood Still,
400.
this is our first sort of sci-fi story, isn't it, from the Andersons?
System UHF.
Master...
We're now in the future, on a spaceship. I know we had that strange, as I said, The Day That Time Stood Still, that weird episode of Supercar with aliens that could invade your dreams. And of course we had a few episodes where Supercar had to go into space, but again, present day. We are now firmly in the future, science fiction, space race time. And we've blown up the enemy missile.
What's happened, Professor?
Oh no, we haven't.
It exploded before it reached the target.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Loaded by radio.
I was going to comment on that. It looked like the missile exploded ahead of time.
Yeah, a suicide crew.
Oh no. We have some kamikaze pilots ready to give their all in the cause of blowing up the Earth. And what's also great about this, thinking about this as being the first, essentially, sci-fi story produced by AP Films,
On jamming beam.
you have just this instantly believable universe. Okay, there's some shots here where you have the models hanging in front of a rear projection of space that don't quite work. But by and large, I really love the space shots in this show. There's something strange about the way they're lit
Nice work,
that
Steve.
is very convincing. I remember in the TV21 XL5 comics, they did space was sort of blue, and I always felt that kind of reflected how space looked in this show.
Good luck, Steve.
Anywho,
Setting.
we've traced the source of the missile to planet 46.
Hey, how about some coffee, Venus? I guess we've earned it.
Yeah. He's so cool. He's so cool and so smooth. Saving the world, have some coffee. And we also establish here that Robert is the robotic co-pilot and he can be left alone to pilot XL5. No problems. While the rest of the crew just sit in the back and lounge around. And here's something that was mentioned occasionally through the run of the show, but not all that often.
Oh, quite a few days yet, Venus. I suggest we rest all we can. We don't know what's in store for us when we arrive.
The idea that it was a long journey between planets, which obviously it would be, even for the pride of the world, Space Patrol. And that's something that was taken even further in Roberta Lee's Space Patrol. I think someone's added up how long it takes for the characters to zip around the universe over the course of the series, because they always say they're going into a freezer for like 36 days or something. So the entire series runs a very long time. This isn't so long, and luckily they didn't return too much to this idea of we have to wait for the crew to get there and we have to watch them sleeping. But it's a nice touch of realism, which the show generally didn't go in for heavily. But again, it's just enough realism to make all this future feel real and workable.
You are now approaching planet 46.
In later episodes, it wouldn't be quite as the process of getting from planet A to planet B wouldn't be quite as involved as it is here. It's just off we go, and we'll be there soon. That's the first appearance of Steve Zodiac's blinking head, which is fine for blinking when he's supposed to look
Fire main retro.
tired, but when they use it for scenes where he's not supposed to be blinking, he just does look very tired, almost hungover. Whoa.
Steve, we're in orbit.
Yeah, and that's another shot I never liked, actually, where they fire the boosters to go into orbit, and suddenly XL5 droops as if it's about to fall out of orbit.
If we need any help, we'll call you.
I'll be standing by, Steve.
What are the chances they could need help? It's just a planet firing planetomic missiles at them. But speaking of great effect shots...
Safety belt fastened.
Safety belt fastened.
Ooh, we have safety belts on this spaceship. Eat your heart out, Enterprise. Is this going to be the episode with the shot that I really like? No, it's not. It's an early version of XL5 detaching from the main body. Fireball Jr., I should say, detaching from the main body and descending to the planet. But there's
If there's any life on
a stunningly beautiful shot that they would reuse throughout the series.
Is that the computers in
That was more of a trial run for it.
Oh.
Sure. That's why we're here.
Me and my cool hair, and you and your French cooking. Yes, here we are, our first... No, again, it's not our first alien world, is it? That supercar episode keeps lousing everything up. Oh dear. Anywho.
Good. They've landed safely.
I was afraid they might crash it again. Oh, this is... And Fireball is also a gorgeous looking ship. There's Steve wearing his blinking head again. Get your blinking head off, mate. But I also love how cute Fireball Jr. looks. And yet, for something that's so small, it often feels like it has quite a lot of weight to it. Oh dear. It's just, the design work on this show is instantly perfect. Space City, gorgeous. XL5, beautiful. Even the hover bikes,
No sign of life. No
which are just, a plot device to get our characters around without having them to walk. These look so sleek and so cool. They're not hoverbikes, are they? They're jetmobiles in this show. Hoverbikes is Thunderbirds.
The creeps.
But of the, that kind of thing, the jetmobiles here, the hoverbikes in Thunderbirds, the
Is it cold?
monocopters in Stingray, these are by far the coolest design.
The answer. I'm a tootie. Why didn't I think of that before?
Ah,
Come on, let's go.
yeah, he's a tootie for not thinking that the baddies who fired the missile would operate in a cave. See, that's why he's the commander of this spaceship. Yeah, I like the jetmobile design in Thunderbirds. Not so much the monocopters from Stingray. I think they just look like what they are, a chair with a fan on it.
Diamonds.
My God!
Thousands of diamonds.
Looks like we've stumbled on something, Venus. Come on.
Stick a few in your pocket, Venus. No, they're far too... Ooh,
Stop.
they're far too upstanding to do something like that. But here we are, a
Venus, on the other side. Look.
lake of fire.
Door.
And a door on the other side. We've just stumbled across the base instantly.
One thing. Life.
Doors mean life, Venus. I read that somewhere once.
Get help. Fast.
But Steve,
I get what he's saying, but it's just how he says it. A door can only mean life. But straight away, Steve is earning his heroic credentials by... Oh, there's a lake of fire? It's like less than 10 seconds of him seeing the lake of fire and him charging across it on his hoverbike. Jetmobile!
Steve, what's wrong?
Well, I'm suspended over a lake of boiling lava. What do you think is wrong, woman?
Our jets don't stop.
Oh dear. Come on, Steve, you can do it. I really love this jetmobile design, actually. You know how it was Eagle Moss, the late, dearly departed Eagle Moss, they were making TARDIS consoles at one point. I would love a series of the jetmobile and the hoverbike and maybe not a monocopter, but Commander Shaw's chair, certainly. Oh yeah, that's the chair from Stingray, I think. They excelled themselves there and left nothing for the monocopter. Anywho, we're not talking about Stingray, we're talking about XL5.
You're almost there.
He's almost there. Come on, Steve, you can do it. Okay, now he's got a reason to wear his blinking head. Sweat pouring off his face. And he's made it to the side.
Venus, I made it.
Hooray for me. And instantly, he's thwarted, because there are the Subterrains.
Oh, Steve.
Oh, no. They appear in these little tubes, and Steve is instantly just, I'm going to shoot you. But unfortunately for him, his laser can't get through the tubes they're in.
Venus,
Get help.
fast.
But their lasers can fire through the tubes that they were in and knock him out. So now it's all up to Venus to race out of there as fast as she can. This is a very cool escape sequence. I love that rock that looks like a sort of monster hawk type thing, but unfortunately for her, they have two sticks that make sparks, and... that's a rather startling moment. Not just the sight of Venus sort of thrown off her bike into a rock, and then there's that rather effective shot of a Subterrane pointing his gun down at her, but that scream... I'd love to know where that scream came from, because it's clearly not Sylvia. It's clearly sourced from some TV show or film. If anybody knows where that scream came from, do let me know. But, oh, here we go. We're in the Subterrane control room, which looks very nice, except for one little detail, the Subterrane leader's high chair. I've always found it so funny that he has, not only he has a higher chair than everyone else, but it can even extend even higher for those moments where he needs to be even more authoritative and scary.
What's happened to Venus?
Your Earth woman is quite safe for them.
Yeah, there goes the high chair.
There in the rocket.
Wobbling into position.
Launched against Earth in exactly 8 minutes from now.
You're bluffing.
Am I?
We're just going to keep trying to nuke Earth. But now we've got Venus on our rocket as well.
Commence launching procedure.
And the Subterranes are very nice looking villains. I don't think the show did enough with them, or at least knew how to use them after this, because they were hatching some strange plans after this. But they...
To land.
And if I don't?
They just look very, very nice. I particularly like the bit of rope that's glued to their foreheads, sloping across their eyebrows, that does absolutely nothing.
Have discovered launching.
It all looks so nice. They've really gone all out to make these...
Bring her down, Professor.
These effective-looking aliens. Not just villains, but aliens. And that was something the show did very well as well.
We're on our way.
Oh, dear.
Landing procedure.
Steve's had to lie to them
22-0.
to lure the main body of XL5.
Excellent, Steve Zodiac. Now instruct him to
They've let Steve have a seat. That's very sweet of them.
22-0 blue, and your Earth woman will be released.
Oh.
Fireball XL5. This is Steve Zodiac.
That's right, Professor. Land at position code 22.
Yeah, there's that shot of XL5 orbiting again, and later on they hit a really nice looking shot. This is not it, but they'll get there soon, and for the time it's still very impressive stuff.
New position.
It's streets ahead of what was going on in things like Space Patrol and similar.
Landing position to go to 22-0 green.
Correction.
And here's our first introduction of Robert and his
Blue.
Bond
problems with anger management,
Yeah, no, Rob.
blowing his top,
Get all steamed up.
which is something that would last through most of the series.
But two. I'm only human.
I mean, I suppose it was done for a bit of comic effect, but I don't know. More often than not, it just seemed to cause problems. To the extent where, I think it's is it the very next episode, Hypnotic Sphere, he actually punches Steve out because he gets so confused.
Observe.
Oh no, XL5 is sinking. The main body has landed on the planet.
They're sinking into the ground.
Yes, they were ordered to land on the
Is going according to plan.
quicksand bit, I guess.
Will sink in the ash. The beautiful Earth woman will die.
Oh
The
no.
rocket hits its target, Earth. Then it is your turn. You have already cost us one failure.
So much for your word as a subterranean.
Yeah, which you never gave. These guys have got to. They've sorted it all out. Steve's captured. Venus is going to be nuked, and Robert and Matt are drowning in quicksand.
38. 37.
I love this as well. The countdown sequence with groovy music.
5. 34.
I also noticed in the background there's a subterrane working at a control panel which has, I think they're called sprues, the bits that you get in a model kit that holds the model kit pieces in place.
Robert, what's the
And there's a
matter?
lot of contemporary knobs and switches and dials and readouts about the place, which again, it looks to us kind of retro, but it also fits in with the whole retro futuristic look of the show. And yet at the time, I suppose
8.
it would have done the job for viewers, especially younger viewers who wouldn't really have understood what they were looking at.
4. 3.
Oh no, nearly there. And as the countdown goes along, and the
0.
rocket is fired,
Ignite.
we've been getting more and more close-ups, if that makes sense, as the Subterranes enjoy their countdown, and some very effective use of lighting as Steve watches the rocket take off. Oh, a bit wobbly.
Guidance mechanism.
Change guidance frequency.
And with all this going on, Steve has had plenty of time to stroll over to his jetmobile and retrieve his laser. In full view of all of the Subterranes, but nobody seems to care.
Rocket now under control. Guidance system.
They're too concerned about their guidance problems. I also love looking at that shot of the rocket take off. You see the little subterrane base
Do not.
in the cliff top on the background. It's just...
You think.
Oh, that's it. Good old Steve. Yeah, it's just a lovely touch. And establishing the geography of this place. Oh, there you go. That's why you don't sit in a high chair, leader. When your prisoner shoots you, you tend to take a great blow to the noggin as you fall off and hit the floor.
Good, Robert. We can't get her out of this without Fireball Jr. What's hip?
I never understood that part, though. I mean, surely with Fireball Jr., XL5 is heavier, and Jr. doesn't really add much to the whole boost thing. XL5 seems to have plenty of boosters on its own anyway, but I'm not going to quibble with Matic, nor am I going to quibble with this shot, which is very cool, of Steve smashing through the window in the control room on his jetmobile with the subterranean leader sort of draped over the back. Now that's a lot of strings. There's 2 puppets and a jetmobile to be working, and yet the model is moving across the room with great ease. That's some terrific skill by the puppeteers there. So we're in yet another dramatic situation, because this episode is just full of dramatic situations.
XL5 from Steve Zodiac. I'll be with you in a moment, Professor. Once we get the nose cone attached,
We'll be able to pull Fireball out of the ash.
Hurry, Steve! We're almost completely submerged.
I love the way they've tilted the set as well to make it look like the interior is at the angle that the rest of the ship is in. I mean, maybe this thing of XL5 not being able to escape without Fireball Jr. is the fact that they don't have any controls to move the ship until Junior's reattached. I don't know, that doesn't seem...
Professor, I'm back.
And I'm cooler than ever. Yeah, that doesn't seem... Yeah, I guess that must just be it. They can't fire the main boosters without Fireball Jr. That seems really unlikely and counterproductive, but anywho, they're out of the quicksand.
Instruct your subterrane.
And Matt's going to take his revenge on the subterrane leader by holding him at gunpoint, point-blank range.
You don't, we'll be forced to destroy your planet.
I'm gonna want vengeance, and I'm gonna pistol whip you until you tell me what I want to know, boy.
This is your subterranean chief speaking.
I love that they've given this subterrane on the missile a blinking head. I don't think any of the others do.
Abandon missile.
And it just gives him this look of being very sleepy.
I have passed on your message, but to no avail. The Earth Woman will die anyway.
You know how accident-prone she is.
Equipment on board.
Here, take this. It's an oxygen pill. It'll enable you to live in space.
Live and love and thrive in space. I love the way they introduce that in this show. It's just, oh, no, don't need to explain it. Just, you can live in space, swallow this. It also made the subterranean pilot look even dopier as he's sitting there listening to her with his barely able to keep his eyes open. Steve's got his blinking head on again, though, as well. I'm not sure what it is about that blinking head that looks so bad, but I think it's something to do with the hair. The hair just doesn't look as good as it does on the regular head. Ah, that's it. Venus and the pilot are adrift in space.
Message understood.
Living in space as they are, and Steve's gone out with a rope to pull them in. And the first of some, what this show will produce a lot of from Barry Gray, some very strange spacey music. More to come in later episodes, but there's some good stuff here. And there we go, they've nuked another missile from Planet 4-6.
Well done, Professor. Now winch us in.
And, well, aside from the fact that they've got the subterranean leader and they're going to take him back to Earth, well, I guess that's supposedly enough of a reason for them to stop firing missiles at Earth.
Sure looks better from here than inside that subterranean rocket.
Thanks to you, Steve. I guess I know now why they call you the greatest astronaut on space patrol.
Oh,
I think you're cute, too.
now where's my steak?
Oh, this is Fireball XL5 returning to base. Mission complete. Over and out.
Oh, everything at that ending there just gels perfectly. The music, the look of the character, the heroic tone of Paul Maxwell's voice, and there we go. That's the end of the first episode of Fireball XL5, and just straight out of the gate, the show is, I'd say, as good as it's ever going to get, really. Everything that makes the show work is here, and it already works. That's what's quite incredible. Just straight out of the gate, there's nothing here that you look at and think, oh, I'm glad they dropped that, or I'm glad that wasn't a thing for very long. Everything's just as it would be for the remaining 38 episodes, and that's something that I find with a lot of the Supermarionation, at least the pilot episodes are by and large just superb stuff, wonderful showcases in defining and establishing the format that will just work for the rest of the series. And as always, that was Jerry and Sylvia writing the very first episode. It's just good stuff all the way through. Not a favourite episode of XL5 for me. I don't think this would even make the top 10, but it's just, in terms of establishing the show, setting up all the characters in this wonderful world, I don't think they could have done much better than this. So overall, yeah, thumbs up here. Good stuff.